set up the classroom. I think I'm gonna go get my job shirt.
More comfortable? What?
Nice chill. So
Yeah. Oh, what's that?
I'm gonna go get my job shirt.
Okay. What chair are we sitting?
Sit in that one.
Okay.
Anna's sitting in this one.
Alright.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. She will be in here in just a second. Hi, I'm Jeremy Chris. I'm from the Warrensburg Fire Department. This is my Instructor 1 presentation over ground ladders. This will be a approximately 2-hour course. I have it broken down into 3 sections. First section is going to be classroom. Second section is going to be hands-on. We'll be throwing ladders outside. Third section will be back in here for a test. Then we'll be done. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to be identifying the parts of a ground ladder, which is, relatively simple, right? Absolutely. So first we have the beams of the ladder. They run parallel on each side. We have the rungs. Rungs are obviously what we climb up. They're in between the ladders. On the ladders, we will also have a bed section. The bed section is the lower section of the ladder. On an extension ladder, both of these are single ladders. On the then the part that moves on it is called the fly section. Down here is called the butt of the ladder. At the bottom of it are butt spurs or feet. At the top is the tip. On the bottom of our why am I going brain dead? On our flies, on the bottom of the foot of them will be rubber padding usually, and it will be able to swivel. On the extension ladders, we also have the guides there to guide the fly section. We also have pawls that will hook into the fly section to make it, that will hook the fly section to the base section or bed section to where it won't move. Then we also have hallards and hallard cables. The two differences: hallard cable is a cable and hallard is usually made of rope. The hallards will either be enclosed, like ours here at Warrensburg. We don't have to tie them off. We just pull them up. And then on here it's not, and that's the part that you'll need to tie it off. We'll tie it off in the middle, close to the bottom. All the ladders will also have heat sensors on them. They will be on the inside beam, close to the top. There will also be identifying markings on them, which this one will say 14. That 14 most likely is the length of the ladder, but we'll also have other markings on those also. I'm sorry, I'm not even ready for that yet. All right, on our single ladders, one of them will be a roof ladder. The roof ladder will have the hooks on the top of them. Ours here is spring loaded. We're going to make sure they move when we're carrying them. We're going to carry them to the building closed. We're going to keep them closed until we're ready to extend the building. And then we'll go over on how to, easy ways to carry it up and have it all set up in there. What are some of the components of the extension ladder and the single ladder? Or the roof ladder?
Roof ladder has the hooks.
Okay. What about the single ladder and the extension ladder?
The extension has the hallard to extend it, and the single doesn't.
And it could be a collapsible ladder, like a roof ladder, at a time.
So now we're gonna go through the different types of ladders, which, we already kind of been through, right? So we got the single ladders and roof ladders. So like I said before, those are the first two we're gonna talk about. We have the single ladders, roof ladders, we have the extension ladders, and the combination ladders. There's also commercial ladders. Those are usually, I believe, on the side of buildings already set in place. So for the single ladders, they usually run anywhere between 6 and 32, or 6 and 24, 6 and 32 feet. Most of them common are sit between 12 and 24 feet. Who knows what size single ladders we have here?
I think one's 10 feet, right?
Do what?
10 feet? One's 10, right?
And your 8-foot attic ladder.
And we have a 14-foot also.
Yeah.
So we have those, and then our roof ladders, right? How tall are our roof ladders?
A roof is 10, isn't it?
It's 12.
Do what?
A roof ladder, isn't it 12?
I think it's 12. I do think it's 12.
I thought it was 10.
I was,
Roof should be 12, and then your attic ladder might be the 10.
I was really thinking about, what about the one on the ladder, like on the aerial? But I think that's
That
pretty
one might
big
be
too.
14.
I think that's pretty big. Alright, so we are at our extension, our roof ladders, I already been through these hooks, how they work. What they're designed to do is they're designed to go over the peak of the roof and anchor the tip of the ladder instead of having to anchor the bottom of the ladder. We can also anchor those on the sides of buildings. When we're going up, there might be a wall before you go down to the actual roof of it, and we can anchor that on that wall also. With our extension ladders will have, ours here only have 2 flies, even our 35-foot only has 2 flies. They will also come up to 3 flies. I was never had the privilege to fly a 3-fly 35-foot ladder. So with the extension ladders, it consists of the base section, which the bed is the part that doesn't move. The flies are the one that moves. I keep on doing the wrong one. So they can be adjusted to different lengths. The extension ladders, they are measured by the working length. So what that pretty much is not extending out as far as it can go, extending as far as it is made to go. Because we still have like a couple here and there that's not extending all the way out. They generally run anywhere between 24 and 32 plus feet, and 39 feet. So what are the different uses that we would use single ladders, roof ladders, and extension ladders for?
Structure fires.
What at structure fires? When would we use a roof ladder at a structure fire?
Search for hidden fire.
For your ventilation. For good
Then,
ventilation.
okay. Where would we use an extension ladder?
Multi-story building.
Do what?
Any multi-story building where you have to extend beyond 2 stories.
So we already kind of went over this, different lengths that we have in roof ladders, our single ladders. Our 2 for our extension ladders are 24, right? And I already went over our 35-foot.
Alright, so we should have the 14, there's a 16 on the aerial, and I'm pretty sure your 10 is just your attic ladders.
Alright, so next is going to be the cleaning, inspecting, and maintaining ladders. Fun, right? So, we're going to describe how to do all that process. So, first, our ladders need to take a lot of abuse, right? We're not easy on our ladders too much. So we have they're exposed to a lot of weight. You know, our gear, climbing on ladders is a lot of weight. It's exposed to heat, a potential to be exposed to a lot of heat, and things falling on it. And also, things falling on it, we're thinking about things from structure fire. One of the most common things that fall on it that we face here is dust. So that's why maintaining and cleaning is really important. So during inspection, we're going to cover all the parts, right? We're going to determine if there's wear on it, where that wear is coming from, if it's coming from us, if it's coming from the truck, are we storing it wrong? And we're going to expect it to our SOPs and to manufacturer guidelines. So we're going to cover all the parts, like I said, of the ladder. For inspections and testings, it's under NFPA 1932. It also goes, 1932 is also for pretty much everything about ladders. Manufacturers is in 1932. All that good stuff. So when inspecting a ladder, we're going to inspect it after every use, at a minimum, monthly, and annually. So what we do here, we need to inspect our ladders every time we do our weekly, at least. So with our inspecting our ladders, we're going to, like I said, inspect all the parts. We're going to inspect a heat sensor on the ladders. Do we know what our heat sensors are, correct? On the ladders. We've all seen them, correct? Okay. When do we know whenever the heat sensor has been activated? Do you know?
Color changes.
Yeah. So the color does change on it. We're also going to inspect to see if there's any heavy soot on it or buildup of what would have been smoke on there. We're looking for decoloration to more like fiberglass ladders. Rung damage or wear, we're going to look for the tightness of it. We're going to look for any bolts and rivets, make sure they're all in there secure. We're going to look for any welds, make sure there's no cracks in the welds or any other defects. The beams, rungs, everything else we're going to check, make sure there are no cracks, bends, anything like that. On the halyard, we're going to make sure there's no dry rot and that it's secure and correctly tied. And it's taut whenever we have the bed closed, or whenever we have the ladder bedded or closed. Speaking of heat sensors, there's our heat sensor. It will change colors.
Do you know a certain temperature that it will change colors?
Now that you say that, no. I kind of felt like I heard 300 degrees, but I feel like that's wrong.
So you'll check and get back with me?
Yes. I feel like that's too low, but if you would ask me yesterday, I read it yesterday. Okay? Definitely read it yesterday. Alright, so like I said, we're going to inspect our rungs for damage or wear. We're going to check for tightness. For our beams, we're going to check for our trucks where they come in contact with the truck. make sure there's no excessive wear with it. On some of the trucks where they're placed on the side of the truck and there's like a couple hooks holding them on, check those places on the ladders, make sure there's no excessive wear. Usually there's padding on those brackets to make sure there's not, but check those. Alright, so heat sensors, I did not find this out until like several months ago, but they do expire. So that is one of those things that whenever we are doing our ladder checks, or truck checks and checking our ladders, check to make sure they are not expired. If I remember correctly, we are going to be perfectly fine for several more years. Bolts on wooden ladders should not be tightened down so much that they're crushing the wood. Do we have a wooden ladder here at Warrensburg?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Engine 1. Engine 1 has a wooden ladder on it. It's a parade truck, so we're not going to use that ladder for any emergency reasons, but yes, we do have one. Any ladder that has been exposed to direct flame has been exposed to high heat. The sensors probably would have changed and is unsafe and should be removed from service until testing. And for testing, we have a company come out here and test our ladders. So our ladder testing is not done in-house. So when we're inspecting ladders and if we find damage, we're going to definitely mark the damage to the department's SOPs, use our chain of command. Also, what is our department SOP? How are we going to mark this ladder for damage? That would
First due assets.
and
Circle it.
do what?
Says circle it. Possibly.
The damage on the ladder? But yeah, first due, definitely. We also have those papers out of service. Note cards we can place on the ladder. Because we are going to probably be removing it from service until repairs are made. So if a repair cannot be made on the ladder and the ladder is useless, we're going to have to junk it, which is either scrap it for pieces or cut it down to where we can use it for training pieces. We have one over at Station 2 that we've done that to. Or use it for spare parts, which on extension ladders there's plenty of different parts. On roof ladders we can use hooks. Alright, so also at NFPA 1932 I said lists pretty much everything about ladders. It also says that the designated length has to be on the ladder. Manufacturer's name has to be on the ladder. Says what apparatus it's from, and it has to have a white reflective tip at the top or a reflective tape at the tip and balance point. So it does go through all that. It helps us out, especially the balance point part. Alright, wooden ladders should not be painted because it could conceal damage to the wood. Wooden ladders can be have a type of finish on it to keep it more waterproof, I guess.
Anybody know what cities still use exclusively wooden ladders?
Yeah, do you guys know what city uses wooden ladders?
No clue.
No clue? It's the only, I think they have the only wooden ladder manufacturer in the country, and it's San Francisco.
Oh,
Nope.
really?
In-house, they have a whole team that puts them together.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
In-house?
it's all in-house. They have a whole crew
Ah,
dedicated
yeah.
to
I would
wooden
just
ladders.
randomly guess something. Now what I would have guessed.
Like, definitely not something I would want to work on, but it still happens. I've had a wooden ladder whenever I was a teenager break on me.
Yep.
I knew it was going to break on me, but it still broke.
So you didn't inspect it before you?
No, I was like 12 carrying shingles up to the roof. Alright, so Our ladder labels is going to have our manufacturer certification label, pretty much their nameplate, putting their name on it. Electrical hazard warning. Ladders will shock you if it connects to a power line, just so you know, any ladder. Ladder positioning label. We have one right there. Shows you the correct position for it and correct degrees away from it. And the adhesive label. Okay, inspecting metal ladders. We're going to check for evidence of flame or heat damage, corrosion or rust, missing or loose bolts, rivets, or fasteners, loose or damaged rungs, cracks, bends, or other damage in any part of the metal. And then dry rot, damage to the halyard. And really check the halyard out, because the halyard has, I don't think anybody really inspects the halyard that much until it breaks. So inspect it, go along and make sure there's no large gouges in it or that it will break. Okay, inspecting fiberglass ladders. We're going to pretty much check the same things: cracks, chips, and other damage to the components, loose or missing rivets or fasteners. Evidence of that it's had high heat, corrosion or rust on the metal parts, loose or damaged rungs, damage or missing rubber on the pads, on the foot pads, and dry rot and damage to the halyard on those also. Inspecting wooden ladders and wooden ladder components. When inspecting, we're going to areas that are finished, we're going to inspect them for chafing and scrapes. Darkening to the finish to where it looks like it's been cooked. Marred, worn, cracked, or splintered parts. Does anybody know what marred means? I had to look it up. It's charred. It's another word for pretty much charred. If it looks like it's been burned. Shoes rounded or smooth. We don't want those. We want them to be able to be on the ground. And water damage. Again, that's a wooden ladder. Can definitely probably take water damage. Any indication of wood deterioration is reasons for the wooden ladder to be removed from the service until it can be tested. Okay, inspecting roof ladders. We're going to inspect the hook assemblies and make sure it operates with ease. I have noticed here when doing my checks that sometimes they don't move with ease, and it takes a couple pops and cleaning lubricant agent to loosen it up. Signs of rust or deformation. Check that spring out also. And no loose parts. So make sure if it doesn't supposed to move, it doesn't move. Okay, inspecting extension ladders, we're going to inspect the pawl assembly, the hooks that goes over. The halyard cable, we're going to check to see if it's in halyard rope also. Both check to see if it's damaged or worn. And again, whenever it's bedded, in the bedded position, we want to make sure that's taut. I know a couple months ago we found one that was so tight it wouldn't, and we had to readjust it. And for our pulleys, we're going to make sure that they turn freely. Our ladder guides, we're going to make sure that they're free of debris. There's no heavy buildup, and that the fly sections move freely. All right, compare inspection requirements for different types of ladders.
The wood one, you have to check for water damage, unlike aluminum ones.
And what else?
I said unlike aluminum ladders,
Okay.
you don't really have to necessarily look for that.
Oh no, wooden ladder, what heat damage would you be expecting? What could you see from it?
Discoloration and charredness.
What about on an extension ladder? Caleb.
The extension ladder on a wooden one or just a
Regular extension ladder.
The-
What would you?
Heat, the heat sensors.
Okay. How would that would what would you check on an extension ladder that you would not check on a roof ladder?
The pulleys and the rope.
And what's another name for the rope?
I mean, what has that?
Howler.
The hell, yeah.
Do we have all ropes here for our Hallards?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we do.
Ropes versus cables, so we don't have any cables.
What is a different what's different inspection type that what would you do? How would you do inspection on a ladder or on a roof ladder?
Check the springs and the hooks, make sure they're moving functionally.
Okay, awesome. All right, moving on. Service testing ladders. So before placing, we're going to service test ladder before it's being placed in service annually and after it's been exposed to high heat. Cleaning ladders. How do you think we're going to clean a ladder?
Mild soap and water.
Yeah.
Manufacturer's recommendation.
You are both correct. We're going to use running water. Any tough on debris, we're going to use mild soap and water. We're going to lubricate any parts that need to be lubricated. We're going to look for any damage. And one more most important thing, if you ask me what we do not do with our ladders after we clean them very often, is we don't dry them. So definitely make sure we get them dry.
Now, will we dry them with the chamois that we dry the truck, or do we look elsewhere for a drying cloth?
Elsewhere.
Definitely look elsewhere for a drying cloth because we have, again, we're gonna, if it's a ladder that needs to be lubricated, it's going to have that on it. And we don't want to transfer that to our shiny, beautiful truck. All right, how often should ladders be cleaned?
After every use and once monthly,
Always.
always.
Let's always clean them. Yeah. Whenever they need it. More importantly is whenever they need it. I think that's the moral of that part. Clean it whenever it needs it.
SOPs.
If it just takes simple wiping it down with a wet paper towel to get dust off, that's all it needs then. Maintenance and repairs. The difference between maintenance and repairs is maintenance is keeping ladder in service, being useful. A repair has to be done to make the ladder useful. So ladder is no longer useful if a repair is being made. The maintenance, we are keeping it. All firefighters should be able to do maintenance. We should all be able to tie a halyard. If we don't know how to tie a halyard, we should be able to go to someone from our crew and be taught how to tie a halyard or other minor maintenance or other maintenance. For repairs, it has to be done by a certified tech, someone that knows what they are doing. So ladder maintenance, we're going to keep it free of moisture. With our ladders, how we do that is we throw them in the back of our truck. All of our ladders is in closed compartments. Store ladders away from vehicle exhaust and heat and engine heat. We're going to store so that they are not exposed to weather elements, which we do that also. And paint only for purposes of identification or visibility.
So you know why the exhaust one has to be there? Because on our older trucks, the ladders were mounted on the side, on the crew chief side by the exhaust. So you take the ladder down, and if you had 2 or 3 stacked there, you had to take one down, put it from the exhaust, grab your second ladder.
Yep.
Well,
So you get heat.
there's some history to why you not put it by the exhaust.
Yeah, I was like, I've noticed a lot of that in this. So we have, I don't think we have paint on ours. I think ours is tape for reflective up at the top. I think
Oh,
we have
interesting.
identifying tape like the blue for this engine and the red for this engine.
What about the balance? Is it tape?
That's also tape. I'm sorry, I was more thinking reflective,
Okay.
the reflective part, but yeah, we do have all that. We have stickers on there also, the 14-foot sticker, 24. All right, what are some general maintenance requirements for ladders? I mean, engine free of moisture, free of heat, free of exhaust, free of weather,
Paint only for purpose of,
identification, and visibility.
there you go, nice job.
And like I said, the whole time I'm thinking glow in the dark paint.
That'd be awesome.
Alright, we're going to start with, or up next is going to describe safe practices of ladder. For pretty much carrying ladders, and throwing ladders, it's really important to have upper body strength. Operate accordingly to department training and procedures. Wear full PPE when handling and working with ladders. That includes helmet and gloves. Choose the correct ladder for the assigned task. Sometimes the IC will give you the ladder he wants and where he wants it. Sometimes the IC will be like, put a ladder on B side, and it's all up to you then. So you will have to know which ladder to choose from if you're not told, and good place to put it. Use your leg muscles, not your backs or arms, when lifting below the waist. Use the correct number of firefighters when carrying a ladder. You don't need 3 firefighters to carry a 10-foot roof ladder. Do not raise within 10 feet of electrical wires. So that could also be a good rule of thumb when checking with the hot stick. 10 feet might be good. Secure tip or anchor the foot when training or even in emergencies. Always either secure the top of it whenever it's up or the foot. One way we can do that is we keep someone on the ground to foot the ladder. Another way we do that, we can put those hooks out on roof ladder and secure it up at the top. Grass beams when extending or retracting the sides of it. Don't do the rails because you might lose fingers if it's an extension ladder and it's coming down. You could get hurt. Ensure hooks and pawls are seated over the rungs. So a stiction ladder, make sure that is set in place before you start climbing, that it won't come down on you. Ensure the ladder is stable before climbing on the ground. We're not going to try to put on uneven surface or on soft ground. On things we're not going to try to put over like elevator trap doors or the ground floodlights, whatever. They're the small lights in sidewalks that they put. We're not going to put ladders on top of those and fear that they'll break and off center. So, stable. Use caution when moving ladders sideways. Climb smoothly and rhythmically. So whenever you're at that 75-degree angle, you will most likely end up climbing smoothly. It's whenever we get out of those angles is whenever we start having to alter our climbing. Again,
You
inspect.
clicked one.
Do what?
You clicked one before your last.
There you go. Thank you. I was like, I know that's not where. Never overload the ladder. So no one firefighter for more than 10 feet. Good rule of section is one firefighter per section. So if you have one firefighter up at the fly section, you can have a firefighter down at the base or bed. Okay. Use leg locks or ladder belts when working from the ladder. Relocate position ladder only when ordered to do so. So that is, we are moving ladder from one window to the next window. Use ladders only for its intended purpose. And yesterday, whenever I was going over this, I'm like, what other ways can we use the ladders not intended for its purpose? And I'm not going to go over those. Inspect for damage after each and every use. And secure unattended ladders to a stationary object. So if we are throwing a ladder for a second means of egress for an interior crew, and we're just throwing it just for means, not so because it's a mayday situation, it's just because it's what we do. We're going to secure that ladder and walk away. Ladders coming in contact with power lines may result in the electrocution of anyone in contact with the ladder. I think the only time it will not electrocute someone is whenever there is no power to that power line. So most likely you will get electrocuted. So when throwing ladders, again, always look up. Sliding down a ladder in feet first or head first can and could result in injuries and or death. I imagine if you slide head first, you'll probably want to end up in death. Safety when lifting and lowering ladders. So movement should be smooth and controlled. Teamwork is important. Always use the correct number of firefighters. If you think you need more, get more. Bend knees, keep your back straight as possible, and lift with your legs. Again, good common lifting practice. Lift on command of firefighter who can see everybody. So if you're using more than one firefighter, make sure that you communicate on which firefighter is going to be given the orders to lift and lower. Lifting should be done in unison, so it does take teamwork. And lowering ladders using leg muscles, keeping body and feet correctly placed. So pretty much we're going to want to prevent lowering a ladder on your feet also, and you losing your balance lowering the ladder. Can anybody remember 10 general guidelines?
Overhead power lines.
Absolutely.
Never overload the ladder.
Have proper footing.
How do you prevent overloading the ladder?
Not more than one firefighter per room.
Do you remember the feet?
10 feet?
Yeah, 10 feet. Awesome. Good job.
Inspect your ladder.
Inspect it after every use. Raise with your legs, not your back. Keep your back straight.
Required PPE.
Have the right number of people.
Safely carry it while it's on site.
Good. All right, so avoid electrical hazards. Again, we're going to look up before we're going to throw a ladder there. There's no electrical lines. We're good. Then when we get there, we're going to get ready to throw a ladder. We're going to look up again.
So when we do have a fire though, and there's a service line going to a house, what's the potential that may happen that you might have to look on the ground, not necessarily towards up? The house is on fire.
And so the power lines bring you through ladder.
No. So you have a service line coming into the house is on that same fire. The fire comes up and burns the line. What happens to that line sometimes?
Oh, it drops.
Right. So you could look, you're normally looking up and you could see that service line is no longer going to that house. You also need to look down.
Being observant, not being complacent, knowing that there's usually power coming from there. Do some more investigating, absolutely. And then keep your distance away from energized power lines and equipment. It's 10 feet. It's a safety circle. Safety circle is an OSHA thing. And it's the safety bubble that you want to be away from. When having to throw ladders near power lines, you might need to be creative at throwing it instead of, we'll need to modify our throw. Instead of throwing it through the lines, we'll need to throw it parallel to the building, more or less. All ladders will conduct electricity when wet, regardless of their construction material. Fly in and out the bait is solved by the picture on the side of the ladder. So, manufacturers do make ladders with either the fly being out or the fly being in. So the fly section is on the outside of the ladder, this fly section is on the inside. And on the side of the ladder, the manufacturer will put stickers on which way to do it. Most of the time, metals and fiberglass ladders will have the fly out, wood will have fly in. Any questions over that? Fly in and out. So securing the hallard, we're going to lift it. Ours are tied off, so we don't have to do this. If we come in contact with a ladder that's not tied off, we know how to do it. So we raise the ladder. We now have 5 extra feet of rope that's just hanging there and is a choking and tripping hazard for anybody. So we're going to tie that hallard off around 2 rungs close to the bottom of the ladder in the center. So whenever we're climbing the ladder that has a hallard, we're going to want our feet more further out closer to the beams. How can you avoid electrical hazards while raising a ladder?
Go at an angle instead of raising directly straight up.
Look up. How should the fly of a metal ladder or fiberglass ladder be positioned when extended?
Ow.
Alright, we're going to describe the process of carrying a ladder. So usually any ladders on our pumpers or engines, it will be a 2 firefighter carry at most. On ours, the highest one or the biggest one we carry is 24. On aerials, you might need 3 or 4 firefighters. 35 foots get kind of heavy, especially once you start adding a 3rd fly or more. Selecting the correct ladder. Like I said, IC or someone will usually say, hey, put me, or IC or someone can usually say, hey, go get a 24-foot ladder, put it to that window. Sometimes you're just giving general information like ladder B-side. So, knowing what ladder that you need and where to place it. When working on a roof or upper stories, there must be at least 2 means of escape at locations remote from each other. So if we have someone on the 2nd floor of Holiday Inn, we'll want a ladder up there, a couple ladders up there, so if something were to happen, they can get down quickly. Want them not close to each other, next to each other, want them to where they can be used and not overload one spot. Okay, so working locations of a ladder. So 1st story to the roof is usually about 16 to 20 feet off the ground. 2nd story window is usually about 20 to 28 feet. 2nd story roof is 28 to 35 feet. So there, our 35-foot ladder has just been maxed out, getting to the roof. 3rd story window or roof is going to be 40 to 50. and 4-story roof is going to be over 50. So we need our aerial for that. So knowing that gives you help on what ladder you're going to need. You're not going to need to grab that 35-foot ladder for a 1-story house that you're going to just throw a ladder to the roof on. So the length of a single section ladder and maximum extended length of an extended ladder, that's how we get the length. Not the ladder's reach, so it's the length, not the reach. Single roof and folding ladders are required to have measured lengths equal to designated lengths. So it sounds like they're preset. Extension ladders may be as much as 6 inches less than designed. So our 24 extension ladder might only be over 23 feet. Selecting the correct ladder placement. Well, working on the roof, you want the ladder to have 3 to 5 rungs over the roof. It will better contact with the ladder when climbing down and climbing up, giving you all that contact points to the ladder and to the roof. When ventilating a window, you want the ladder to be uphill at the top. When doing a rescue, you want the tip to be just below the windowsill. Also when doing rescues, and if it's like a sill coming out, kind of like this one here, you can butt it up underneath of it to where it's also anchored at the top now, kind of anchored at the top and anchored at the bottom. Okay, building walls or parapets that extend more than 6 feet above the wall, I was kind of talking about this earlier, may require the use of an additional ladder to reach the roof deck. So we're going up on Marshall's or whatever.
What's across the street? Across the street has a parapet wall.
Oh, yeah, it does. The city center, whatever we want to call it, the municipal building. So we ladder it, then there's that drop off that we'll need to climb down the ladder on the other end.
Building?
That's what that's.
Across the street, and also this building has a parapet on
Right up
this
here.
side.
Oh, across the street from here, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was thinking across the street. I think we were thinking of the same place. You can place a roof ladder or a straight ladder. Roof ladder, you'll get that anchorage on top on the tip, but you might not have the correct angle depending on where it meets the ground at if you're using the hooks as an anchor. You can use a roof ladder, straight ladder on the roof side of the parapet and next to the extension ladder to assist firefighters onto the roof. So maximum working height for ladders set at proper climbing angles. So who remembers what the proper climbing angle is? Degrees?
It should be 75.
75. It is 75. Do you guys know a good rule of thumb on how to check a ladder?
Straight out.
Yeah.
Arm straight
Your,
out.
your feet, ladder feet, same and straight out. Alright, so designated ladder length 10 foot. For the maximum reach is going to be 9 feet. We have a 14 foot. And for that max reach is going to be 13 feet. Our 24 foot max reach of 23 feet. Now if you add that 3 inches shorter, we're just barely over 22 feet reach. Our 35 foot is 34 foot. So good enough. Most of the ladders were only losing a foot of reach until you get to these beasts down here, which I'm glad we don't have.
Sounds terrible.
It does. How can you determine the appropriate size of a ground ladder to use for a situation?
Pre-plan.
Guesstimate.
Do what?
Guesstimate.
Guesstimate? How do you guesstimate? Like, first, what are you doing?
Looking at the stories.
If
Looking
you
at the
are
stories.
doing ventilation,
Looking at the stories and just knowing.
do what?
I said looking at the stories and generally knowing what lengths they're supposed to be at.
Second story, you're doing a bedroom ventilation, you have to break out the window. Where are you going? What ladder, where are you going to put it?
What ladder am I choosing or
Yeah.
where am I gonna put it?
Yeah, what ladder and where are you going to put, yes,
Uh,
all of it.
the, wow, I'm going blank. Okay, the 14-foot ladder.
You got a 14-foot ladder?
No, that's for one story roof.
So, I'll make a,
24.
you're responding in the engine.
24 foot.
Okay, where are you going to put the ladder?
On,
If the TV is the window,
okay,
I am the wind and I am blowing this way.
I'm gonna put it down, or upwind, of the window.
Okay. What ladder would you use for roof ventilation? No. How would you properly place a ladder for roof ventilation?
Use a extension ladder to get up there and use a roof ladder. Use the hooks.
How high up, how high are you going to make the extension ladder?
3 to 5 rungs above the rooftop.
Perfect. All right, moving on. It's going to be removing ladders from apparatus. We've talked a little about it and different ways that we've had them. So we had it kind of on this side. You can tell the exhaust is right here. So those are stackable ladders. They're stacked on top of each other. It looks like, and you'll have to take one off if you need one below it. This is more like what we had here. Vertical storage compartment. Again, we have engine 1 style here. That's on the outside. See these brackets, and you see a little rubber pieces on there too, minimal that rare. Then we have the horizontal in that engine, or that aerial. And our aerial is vertical, just like our engines. Removing ladders, things you should know, types, lengths, and locations of the ladder on the apparatus. I think that is very important. How ladders are stored or nested in the ladder. Ours is very simple, it just slides in. Order in which they are nested. So that is talking more like this one. We have a 35-foot. On top of that, we have a 24-foot extension. On top of that, we have our roof ladder. On top of that, we have our combination ladder. Whether extension ladder slides is inside or outside. So when we're throwing it in, is the fly to the inside of the truck or is the fly to the outside of the truck? That does get important, especially on our engines also. Whether if the feet are in or out also. Method used for securing ladders in place on our mounting brackets locations. That's for, you don't have any really on ours. On this one, they did tape where the brackets would go on it for easier storage. So when you're walking up to a ladder, you'll know the bracket's going to go inside these two painted stripes. All right, removing ladders from the apparatus if they're mounted, if they need to be unlatched from a securing device, lift the ladder off the bracket and into the carrying position. If you need to set it on the ground first and then lift it to the securing position or carrying position. Ladders in internal compartments, open up compartment for access, slide the ladder out to its carrying point. One of the reasons why we have that midway point designated on all of our ladders. Firefighters position, more than one firefighter carrying it, they're going to position themselves on the same side of the ladder to carry it. How are our ladders mounted on our first out engines?
Interior
Horizontal.
or right? They're up and down.
Vertical.
Yeah.
Horizontal, like horizon. I have to think of it.
Yeah.
Vertical's up and down. What about our ladders? A ladder truck, sorry.
They are mounted in the back,
Okay, cool.
the same way.
We know how they're mounted here. Here's a question for Caleb. How are they mounted out the county?
Depends on what truck you come.
Okay.
The older ones are mounted on the side with stacking. And the newer ones, they're in the back like ours.
No, cool. I really don't think I've ever paid that close attention. Safety concerns for carrying ladders. You're gonna look for obstacles, maintain situational awareness. That's a very good one. We don't want to run anybody into the back of the head with our ladder, right? Lift with your legs rather than your back. Always good common lifting practice. Look ahead and scanning for obstacles, people, and tripping hazards when carrying the ladder. Again, always use the appropriate number of personnel. As you can tell, we have a 1-person carry, 2-person carry on both sides. We have a 3-person carry. How that differs from the 2-person carry is that the 3rd person is going to be the opposite side of the ladder. Then our 4-person carry is going to be 4-pointing it, which we do with patients and anything else.
I'm not sure I like the way they create that.
Do what?
Seems kind of interesting.
So they're doing a flat load, and it's the 35-foot 3-fly is most likely what they would do that with. You can do a 3-person all on the same side and then carry it
That's mostly what we
this
do.
way instead of
That's mostly what we do.
Vertical.
vertical. Yeah.
I've never seen the flat done, because we have a 3-rung, 34-foot.
It could assist in when you're deploying it because you already have a guy on the other side.
Okay, that makes sense.
It does. So these 2 guys will come to the butt. Or these 2 guys will go to the tip and he will help lift also for a heavy ladder. It's depending on the situation. Okay, work and communicate as a team. That is always very, very important. Identify a team leader, like I said, or before carrying it, identify that person. Carrying roof ladders with hooks closed. That's also a very good idea. Carrying ladders with butt in first. So the part we're going to stick into the ground, we're going to carry it. So you can tell this guy, how he's carrying a ladder, he's carrying it with the butt in kind of down, keeping his visual open, which is also good. And also, if you're carrying it like that, you're not going to hit somebody in the back of the head. Might hit them in the back. When performing a 1 firefighter carry the forward end of the ladder below eye level, carrying the forward end at eye level impedes the carrier's balance and visibility and increases the risk of the butt spurs striking somebody in the head. What safety guidelines should be followed when carrying ladders?
Carry the butt down.
Situational awareness, make sure you're not hitting obstructions, obstacles.
Communicate.
Communicate. He's going to be the leader. He's going to be the leader.
Instant command.
No.
No?
You need 2 people that's on that.
Person at the head.
Okay. So right now we are over halfway through. Let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break.
Hey, where'd you say my ID card was?
It's in the truck on the crew chief side.
Oh, okay.
His was on the area because we had it here.
Mine is like a minute short.
Okay.
Or a minute over. Mine's a minute.
Because I just paused it when we had a break.
You guys still have 20 seconds left. Alright, so next, objective 6 is going to be the proper procedure for placing a ground ladder. So we're going to look for overhead wires. Look for ground conditions. We don't want it uneven ground conditions. We don't want it really soft ground conditions. we don't want to extend the ladder 3 and 5 rungs up above the roof line just from the ground being so wet that now it's shrunk into the ground. So check for those conditions. Building integrity, make sure that the wall is not going to collapse when you start climbing it. Wind direction and speed, especially when ventilating, is very important. And if you know it's going to be a really windy day, that the wind is going to be a factor for the fire, and the wind is blowing that way, most likely the wind is going to take the fire that way too. The appropriateness of the chosen ladder, make sure you choose the correct ladder for the task that you're doing. And structural features of the building, such as the top of the roof, walls, wall height, lights hanging off the roof or the side of the building up at the, like over here, and even here right in front of our bay. If we choose to throw a ladder right in front of the bay, our bay 2, we can, because there's a light up there, and our ladder will be resting on that light. I had to remove a ladder because of it, so I know. So position ladder properly for its intended use, placing the butt at the proper distance from the building for the safe and easiest climbing. Again, sometimes that 75-degree angle is not going to be doable for us in the situations that we are in. If we're in a place that is, the back of the building is 5 feet away from a fence, we're probably not going to be able to get that angle that we want, especially if it's a 3-story apartment building. Placing ladder for ventilation and rescue. Again, for ventilation, we want it to be up wind side of the window. So we want, whenever we break that window, we want the wind to go away from us, not to us. Tip even with the top of the window. So whenever we're breaking it, we want really most of us to be above the shatter zone. We want our face to be above the shatter zone. Just that's my good rule of thumb. When firefighters need to climb in or out of narrow windows or directing hose lines into them. For rescues, tip slightly below the windowsill, and again you can wedge it underneath that windowsill if that windowsill is protruding. Extend ladder 2 or 3 rungs above the windowsill if there is enough room to permit the tip to protrude into the room, allowing room for entry and rescue besides it. So what that's saying is, if you have a window this size, you will not be able to do it. The ladder will take up the whole window. If the window is about this size, and we have the ladder here, we kind of have that other side of the window that we can go in and out on. Now we're not going over the ladder. Place ladders near at least 2 points on different sides of the building. Avoid placing over openings where they might be exposed to heat or flames. So we can position it at the window. Don't position it in the window. We can position it over if we're positioning it for the roof, but there's a first floor window here. We can move it away from that first floor window just in case something happens. Not saying fire will come out of that window. Take advantage of strong points of the building. What's the strong point of the building? Generally. The what?
Oh, generally?
Yeah, generally what is the strong point of the building?
It's not taking enough damage.
Corners.
What part of the
Oh,
corner?
that.
Corner is usually the part that is the strongest point. So take advantage of using corners if we are needing to get on the roof. You can take advantage of those. Raising the ladders directly in front of the window when it is used to support a smoke ejector. So instead of having it at the angle, have it directly in front of the window. Anchoring it. to the window, something on the anchoring at the top or the bottom. But remember, you're gonna have the fan, the ejector, up at the top.
So they're really talking about the red square fans on the reserve trucks that we have, not the ones that we have on the.
They're the big ones.
The
So you
Aerial
know which
also
one-
has a
yeah.
big one too, I guess. But the red fans that are electric are the ejectors.
So avoid placing ladders when they may come in contact with overhead obstructions. We think trees are not much, right? When we're gonna raise a ladder, oh, there's a tree branch there, we're fine. After yesterday, we found out there's a lot of power lines in trees. So again, avoid those also. At night, they will blend in, I'm sure. Avoid placing them on uneven terrain or soft spots. Avoid placing them in front of paths of travel. So, if you know that, everybody in town is going to be traveling down this sidewalk because it's on Pine Street, and we haven't closed off Pine Street yet, we might not want to put it on the sidewalk. Or for us, we don't want to put it straight in front of the front door whenever we're going in the front door. Do not place against unstable surface. So be cautious where you do place it. Climbing angles, distance of ladder butt from the building, establish angle between the ladder and the ground. If ladder is too close, the stability is reduced. So if the ladder is too close and you're climbing it, the chances of the tip coming away from the wall increases. If the ladder is too far, its load carrying capacity is reduced and tends to slip more. So if you ever watch Funny Veil videos, you'll see roofers climbing a ladder like this and they don't fall. 75 degrees is the correct angle. 75 degrees is the degree we want to shoot for. As close as possible, as many times as possible. To determine the proper distance of the butt from the building, divide the working length of the ladder and divide it by 4. If we had Brendan in here, he would be able to do that math for you. Okay, so one of the stickers that we have to have on it, the climbing angle, it has all the points of contact. Firefighter proofs the ladder for us. Tells us how to use it in pictures. Okay, what factors affect ground ladder placement?
The weather.
Okay.
Well,
The ground
soft
that you're
surface,
facing,
yeah,
you know.
soft
Yeah,
surface.
obstruction, like obstacles in our way.
There's plenty of obstructions. So we have ground obstructions, we have building obstructions, we have overhead obstructions, and not just wires. What location in your jurisdiction might present unique challenges for firefighters when raising ladders? I know, Caleb, we've been the one.
It's pretty hilly in Warrensburg.
Do what?
It's pretty hilly, so if there's like a steep hill right up to a house, it's probably gonna be hard to find good footing.
The awnings and stuff.
There's we did
Second
pre-plan.
roofs.
We did a pre-plan at an apartment building that when we walk around the backside, not only is there a slant to it, but it
the
slants
one
into a
off,
fence.
I thought it would be the one off McGuire. By that church.
Yep. McGuire and Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yep. So I was actually talking about it earlier about the fence being there and you won't have enough space for it, because really if we want to get to that roof out back or even that third story, we're not going to. Not with the proper angle. And there are balconies back there. Best way to secure a ground ladder, section 7.
Another firefighter.
Maybe not always whenever we're at the apartment like Warrensburg. So we might not have enough people, but yes, another firefighter is always my preferred way. So lock extension ladders before they placing the ladder against the structure. So raising it properly, locking it, tie the halyard at the ladder, hill or secure the ladder with a rope to a firm object nearby. So from the bottom of the ladder, we would go and secure that to a tree. I don't think there would be a tree at the house, like right there. But secure it to something that won't move. There's ways that you can use a halligan and webbing and secure a ladder. You can use different tools to secure a ladder. I've seen a pike pole and webbing to secure a ladder. So sometimes you have to get creative, but it does get secure. Wear proper and complete PPE. Be alert for falling objects or debris. So whenever you're whenever you're climbing up, occasionally glance at the tip. Don't have your eyes fixated up there. And when you're butting the ladder, if you are the firefighter butting the ladder, don't look up. Especially if you're butting it like this, because everything's going to be falling in your face. Stay alert for firefighters descending the ladder. For the budding person, it's always a good idea just to let them know how many more steps they have down. So once they reach your eye level, you can you're 4 steps, 3 steps, 2 steps, you're off, bye. Hilling a ladder, stand with feet shoulder width apart, grasp the beams at eye level and pull the ladder towards the building. Look forward, not up when someone is climbing, especially if they are carrying a tool, because you are in their drop zone. Hilling a ladder, hilling from the outside of the ladder like this. Choke the outside of the ladder. Choke the butt of the ladder with 1 foot. Stand on the outside of the ladder, choke the ladder with 1 foot. Place the toes against the spurs or place 1 foot on the bottom rung. Grasp the beams and press the ladder towards the building. So we have this guy doing one way, that guy doing the other way. So this is keeping the feet from moving out just by keeping pressure on it like this. This is keeping the feet from moving out by 230 pounds standing on it, being pressed down on it, and that being pressed into the wall. Tying in the tip of the ladder prevents the ladder from pulling away from the building. Again, whenever you're at an improper angle and you're climbing a short angle, it's going to want that tip to move away. If we have to do that, that's the way to secure it. Rope hose tool, safety straps, ties, ladders to a fixed object. So we've done this, the only time I've done this has been at the burn trailer that will tie it to a rolling quite like that. What are 2 methods of grounding the ladder?
Webbing foot.
And this guy, almost done. Section 8, raising and lowering ladders. So raising method depends on the ladder type and size, number of personnel available, weather and and that topography. Took me a second.
The mountain.
Hilly terrains. I was about to say hills. Transit from carrying to raising. Not necessary to place a ladder flat on the ground prior to raising it. If you're carrying it, you don't have to place it down and then up. Only the butt needs to be on the ground. So when you're carrying a ladder, you can butt it and put it in place. Transition should be done smooth in continuous motion. 1 firefighter raise, putting the foot into the ground and raising it. For the extension ladder, it's a good idea to use the feet up against the wall to butting it and then lifting it that way. 2 firefighter raise. We can have the flat raise where the 1 firefighter is footing the ladder and the other firefighter is raising it. Then the beam raise is where one firefighter puts one of the feet and it's raised by its beam, and then it's turned into place, and usually turned into place with on the closest beam. So once it's fully up, then this side would technically come up and it would be turned up against the building. 3 firefighter raises, a 35-foot ladder or longer typically requires 3 firefighters. 4 firefighter raise used for larger and even heavier extension ladders. Flat raise is normally used. Procedure similar to 3 firefighters except the placement of personnel, like we do a 4-point on that method. Okay, what are the methods that can be used for raising ladder, either 1 or 2 firefighters?
Beam.
And flat. Beam and flat. So when we're raising a ladder and we need to pivot it, we're doing a beam raise. Necessarily when the fly is in correct position and ladder is flat, raise parallel to the building. Pivot before extension is, if possible. So we'll want to raise it and then pivot it and then extend it. Pivot on the beam closest to the structure. Shifting a raised ladder should only be done should be limited to short distances. So we will do this in VEIS. 1 firefighter can safely shift a single ladder that is 20 feet or shorter. Extension ladders requires 2 firefighters. One method is to slip top of the ladder sideways against the building to move the butt. So it'll be more like this, walking across. Another way is to roll it.
Preferred method.
I agree. How can a ground ladder be moved once it is already raised and in place?
Rolling.
Roller slide, yeah. Last part, we're almost done. Working from a ladder. So climb smoothly, ascend so there is at least the least possible movement, bounce, or sway. Check climbing angles and securing the ladder before you climb. Climbing ladders, look forward, glance to the tip occasionally, keep arms straight and horizontal. Place hands on the rungs when not carrying equipment. When carrying equipment tends to have it on the beams and just kind of like grasp the beam and like hold tight with squeezing the tool in between our hand and the beam pretty much. Grasp alternating rungs with palms down and thumbs between the rungs. Coordinate hand and feet movement. Place feet near beams with halyard tied to the center of the rung. So went over that earlier a little. Climb using leg muscles, not arm muscles. You want to climb using our legs, not just our arms. Our arms will get really tired. What steps should we be taking to climbing a ground ladder? When climbing a ground ladder, what are some of the first steps you will take?
Safety, make sure it's all secure and supported well.
So it's grounded.
Ground.
What about
Correct
the
ladder
angle?
for the job.
Okay. Securing to the ground ladder. So we have 2 different methods. We have a belt, ladder belt, which we have. We have leg locks, which we know how to do. Needs to do not exceed the capacity of the ladder. How do we make sure we don't overload the ladder?
Not too many firefighters.
How do we make sure there's not too many firefighters?
1 firefighter per 10 feet.
And that
section.
equals, cool. Use leg locks only when working from ground ladders. Never use a leg lock on an aerial. You might lose a leg. When retracting, that goes through a whole different steps for the aerial. But that should be prevented. Either way, never leg lock on the aerial ladder. Carrying tools up and down ladders disrupts the natural movement, natural climbing movement. Made a desire to slide tools along the beams rather than rails. Hoist tools when possible. Use rope when possible. Free up your hand, makes it safer. Deploying a roof ladder. So we're going to carry the roof ladders with the hooks closed to the roof. Open the roof ladder's hooks. Climb the roof ladder or receive the roof ladder after partially climbed. Either going to open the roof, set it up against the ladder and climb the ladder, or I'm going to be on the ground, Caleb's going to climb up. Once he gets up to a certain point, I'm going to give him the ladder and he'll take the ladder all the way up. Carry the roof ladder to the roof. Lock in with leg lock or ladder belt. Place ladder on this beam of the roof. So we don't want the hooks down on the roof, we want it on the side. And slide the roof ladder to the roof's peak. So whenever we flip it down, the hooks will be over the peak and we can engage those hooks over the peak. So you understand this? So whenever we're going up and you are climbing, you are taking the roof ladder to the roof. You are on the extension ladder climbing to the roof. Are the hooks going to be open or closed?
They're gonna be closed.
They're going to be open. You're on the ladder, you're going
Oh,
up
I'm
there.
on the ladder.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
already,
sorry.
that ladder is set for you, ready for you to put it in place. You're at the roof, Caleb, and you're getting ready to slide that ladder in place. How are you going to slide it?
With the beam.
Once you get to the peak, what are you going to make sure of at the peak and the hooks?
That the hooks are dug into the peak.
Okay, descending methods to assisting a victim down the ladder. Conscious victims, ladder tip should be just below the windowsill. Ladder is heeled with all loads and activities off the ladder. So we're doing a rescue on the ladder. We're not going to have a hose line going in there. We're not going to be having someone on the ladder with a chainsaw thing. They're going to do some ventilating. That ladder is for rescue only. At least 4 firefighters are needed for it. We're going to have 1 inside or 2 inside, 1 on the ladder and 1 butting the ladder. More firefighters might be needed, especially for larger patients. If we have a larger patient, we might have to have 2 ladders up. Assisting a victim down the ladder, assisting an unconscious victim down the ladder. You have the victim to knee method, which has the victim pretty much resting on your knee. Shoulder to shoulder method, you have one victim shoulder to your shoulder, and then the victim leg in between your arms. Then this is pretty much same way as that method, just flip-flopped to where you can almost, when you're assisting a victim down and they wake up, they regain consciousness, and they start freaking out, how do you secure yourself and the patient? Yes, you hug the ladder. You're going to be hugging the patient. Patient's not going to be going anyplace. That's a safer place for you and the patient being on the ladder. Because if you're helping an unconscious person down, and they wake up, they're probably going to be pretty scared. And we do not look like the nicest people in our near. Assisting a victim down the ladder. So with the large victim, went over this earlier, we might need 2 ladders with 2 firefighters assisting that victim down. With that, it does take a lot and great communication and patience. Assisting a child down. With the child, we're going to try to, if the child is big enough, with infants, you're not going to be able to do it. But if you want to cradle them in your arms to where they won't fall out in between your arms, and that you can still secure them and have all your points of contact. When assisting a conscious victim down the ladder, different from assisting an unconscious. How is assisting a conscious person down differ from assisting an unconscious person down?
The conscious person can kind of help themselves. Unconscious is dead weight, so you're basically doing it all, you know.
Any other questions
Nope.
so far? All right. Well, that does end the classroom part of it. Our next part is going to be skill part. And we'll be doing that outside. So at that point, we're going to stop the video.